Mary Wollstonecraft lived in the late 18th century during the Enlightenment period and challenged the views of 18th century male dominance and fought for the rights and education of both women and men. But she's often considered the mother of the feminist movement because of her strong support for women's rights. She opposed the belief that women were predestined to an education that limited their ability to reason, to vote, to participate in politics, or even have professional careers. In fact, it was unheard of for women during that time to publicly voice their opinions, since they were expected to be obedient wives and caring mothers with no rights to own property or even have custody of their own children. Wollstonecraft also recognized the effects of socioeconomic inequality and was a proponent of a national system of education for both men and women. Her educational philosophy focused on liberating society and removing stereotypical roles of gender and class. She agreed with other educational theorists who believed that providing national education was important for social reform and establishing a peaceful society. Wollstonecraft authored several books supporting her beliefs about women's rights, educational equality, political philosophies, and ethics and morality. Her writings served to establish her as a leader for women's rights and an educational theorist, whose impact is still evident centuries later. But she had an interesting and ongoing intellectual battle with Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who also lived in the same period in the Enlightenment era. Rousseau had new ideas about the dignity of children and teaching based on child development and age-appropriate activities in accord with nature. But he often opposed the scientific theories of the Enlightenment theorists in favor of the more mystical and natural views of the upcoming era of Romanticism. But Wollstonecraft studied Rousseau's theories and applied them to her own educational philosophy. But she adamantly opposed Rousseau's persistent view of the subordinate role of females. She became a respected author at the age of 27 and used books as a voice for women and to promote equal educational opportunities for all people of every social class. Her most famous book, The Vindication of the Rights of Woman, was written to refute Rousseau's perception of women. But then she also wrote The Vindication of the Rights of Men, which threw her into the political philosophy arena and broadened her focus on supporting the rights of all, especially the lower class. She's also credited for creating a new genre of children's literature, beginning with the book Original Series, that focused on teaching children moral values instead of just fairy tales. She then used these stories as a basis of the teaching structure for her plan for national education. As a result of her lifelong dedication, Wollstonecraft became a proponent for women's rights and educational equality that established the path for modern feminism. But some critics argue that she's not a strong feminist by today's standards and consider her more of an outlaw. So the mother of the feminist movement or 18th century outlaw? What do you think?